what we have here, or with the kinetic science, is really for us the next big step forward in vacuum cleaner and separation system cyclone technology. And what we have is the most efficient cyclone we've ever managed to produce, and one that in effect is so efficient we're separating out all these tiny particles, like I said, the multiples, the pollens, the allergens, within the cyclone, removing the need for this filter and with it the maintenance aspect to it. So the really exciting part of the technology, is takes place at the very tip of the cyclones. So there's a very little quick one-on-one on cyclone technology. Basically, the smaller you can get that cone, the higher the centrifugal forces you're going to generate, and the finer the dust and dirt is going to be separated out. It actually all comes down to airspeed and G-force and gets very complicated, but that's a very top level on it. But the problem is if you get down very small, to a very small diameter, you get this potential for them to become blocked. And obviously the last thing you want to do is block anything up, otherwise you have the same problem of loss in performance and suction. So to combat that, we have these special rubberized tips at the bottom of each one of the cones. Now these allow us to get down to that very, very small diameter, filter out the fine dust and dirt, but the beauty of them is each one of these oscillates and vibrates. Now they're oscillating and vibrating at about 5,000 times a second, meaning that the dust and dirt gets shaken from the tip, preventing it from building up. Now, a good analogy I've been using for this is it's a bit like when you dump flour or powder into a sieve or a sifter. Obviously some of it drops through, but a lot of it will just sit in that sieve or sifter. As soon as you start shaking it, obviously it disturbs the particles or the bits within the powder, and they drop through that fine mesh. It's a very similar principle here. By making sure these very small tips are vibrating very quickly, it stops any dust and dirt from building up, allows it to drop through into the bin, but allows us to get down to that very, very small diameter needed to filter out the really fine dust and dirt.
See how fantastic it is.
And actually, to give you an idea of the technology, we've got these cone tips which pass around to give you, you can feel how soft and flexible they are. We actually spent a lot of time developing this because we need to get exactly the right balance between a cone tip that was soft enough to get the vibrations, not too soft that it would collapse under the suction thing. So a huge endeavour just for something quite as simple as a soft, flexible tip. Yeah, so I was very lucky. Obviously, I went through the British education system. We teach what we call design and technology from a very early age, and it's very fundamental engineering. I suppose it would be fairly similar to shop, wood shop, metal shop, but
symbolic of the American ego.
Yeah, it totally is. I mean,
feel the power.
we absolutely make bigger vacuums in America, not because we need to, but because people want big vacuums. It makes them feel powerful.
So as we move to these very fine plastic and metal shrouds, we're in it with a much larger diameter. And we got a lot of feedback from customers about debris getting lodged up and around. Now we've always designed it so you can separate the bin from the cyclone in order to make it easy for cleaning. And our recommendation for cleaning this is to use things like the bristle head. We also knew a lot of people either didn't want to do that or found that slightly more difficult. So for the first time on the canister, we included this tool that effectively allows people to get up inside that space to help remove any debris that builds up above the max fill line and on that mesh shroud.
Is this the kinetic?
This is also the kinetic, yes. So this is kinetic in the canister format. Obviously the US is more dominantly an upright format still. Countries around the world vary. If we go up to Canada, it's about a 50-50 split. You go over to mainland Europe and the canister becomes much more dominant. This was actually launched first about a year ago in other countries around the world. We're only launching it now at the same time as we're doing the upright because we knew the US market would prefer the upright format. So exactly the same technology, same rubber tips, same smaller cone design, just put in the canister cylinder format for those that prefer that layout.
So